Hello guys and welcome back. My name is Sandra and today I'm going to be filming a book haul. I mentioned in my past couple of videos that I'd run out of books, so I'm here filming a book haul. So I'm going to start with the first two that I've kind of read and the one I'm halfway through. One of the books I picked up is called Daddy Says, and this is a book that is like an erotica book. I used to read quite a lot of erotica back in the day and then I just sort of stopped, and then I guess I moved on to reading like young adult. That makes it sound like I was reading erotica when I was like 9. No, that's not the case. I think I just moved into like reading different genres. And this week I've been like, why don't I read more of what I used to read? Just because I've been looking back at my bookshelf. So I decided to pick up some erotica. I've already finished this book. I finished in like a day because they're really not that hard to get through. I used to read a lot of Mills and Boon's novels as well. And yeah, I mean, one thing you notice about erotica books is just the front covers of them are so irritating. It's always just like men's torsos and they're always like men who have six packs and things like that, and it's just, oh, and they're obviously usually white males as well. And yeah, this book was okay. It was just way too cliche. Like, it was just like, really, I was reading it and I was just like, this isn't gonna happen. Like, I know it's a book, but it was just so like, this isn't gonna happen, this is so cliche. Like, she's working in a restaurant and she meets a really rich guy who wants to basically use her for his domination, and he'll pick up the bill for all her needs. I mean, really? So yeah, I sped through it. I can't even remember putting it on my Goodreads. I probably, because I finished it in the day, I was like, oh, can I be bothered to put it on my Goodreads? Yeah, so that's one I picked up. I think I'm going to need to explore a bit more of the erotica genre and see what I actually like to read, rather than look at them and be like, oh my god, this is so boring. Not boring, but just so cliched. But yeah, it was good in some places, if you know what I mean, but overall I was just reading it like, why? The next book is one, well, it's more of a poetry slash prose slash I don't know, but it's called The Terrible, and I cannot say her name. I think it's Yrsa, but Yrsa Daley-Ward. I'm so excited because by the time this video goes out, I will have seen her perform some of her poetry at the British Library. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't been out in ages, just due to the fact that I'm not feeling quite well. So I'm really excited to go and see this because I feel like it's just gonna sort of bring me to life a little bit more, revive me a little bit more, and I just, because I only discovered her poetry last year, I'm just really excited to hear her read some of her stuff out. So The Terrible is a bit of a, it's her second sort of poetry book, and it's basically about her upbringing and the different things she went through while she was a kid. So she is of Nigerian like heritage. Her dad is Nigerian, even though she never met him. And then I'm not sure where her mum is from, but I know she was brought up by her parents, her grandparents, sorry, who are Jamaican. And she just basically writes about what life was like for her back then. And I think a lot of it goes through like selling your body for sex, but then also living in a really religious household. Her relationship with her brother, and I think it's just about how she navigated through life. It is a bit of a sad one, I guess. Her story is not a happy one, so it is a lot to do with like depression, the sadness that sort of life brings with it. I am on page 67, I think, something like that currently. I'm going to blitz through it so that I am ready in time for the reading on Wednesday, which is tomorrow actually. Her first poetry collection is called Bone, and I just love it so much. So yeah, that's currently what I'm reading, and definitely recommend that you pick up The Terrible and Bone. I just know I'm going to love The Terrible, that's why I'm already recommending it. The next book I have is this one, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I've seen this book everywhere. I know loads of people have read this book. I don't know who Dolly Alderton is, but I know it's like one of the books that's doing the rounds. And I got this as a gift for my birthday. I'm really looking forward to reading it. All I know about the book is that it's about these things, so it's obviously, I think, a bit of a memoir by her about how she's navigated through life. I think it's one of those books that's supposed to help the young modern woman and just help them sort of laugh off all the like silly things in their life, but also talk about some of the serious bits. But honestly, I haven't heard anyone talking about this. I mean, I've seen it everywhere and I'm sure loads of people have actually hauled it, but I haven't actually sat down and watched a video in which someone is talking about what this book is about. So I'm excited to read it because for that reason it means that there are no spoilers and I don't know what to expect, so I'm really excited to get to this. The next book I picked up was Autumn by Ali Smith. So because I still want to do my book review video for the Man Booker Prize shortlist for 2017. I thought I'd pick this up because it's one of the books that was shortlisted. I also heard someone talking about, I think it was either this book or Winter, and they just said it was really good. Again, I'm not sure what this book is about. The summary on the back is just so brief, so I'm just like, what is this book actually about? All I know about this book is that it's set in the UK and it's based in like the 1980s. Literally all I know. Like reading the back, I have not gleaned anything new from what it is about, which again I'm not that sad about because I want to read it and discover it, but that means that I can't say in this video what this book is about and why you should even bother picking it up. But I've heard really good things about Ali Smith, so I'm kind of excited to start reading this novel. The next book I picked up is this book, which is called I Have a Black Dog. It's really funny because looking at this book looks like a children's book, and I've had my brother and a friend comment on it when I've had it in my room, like, is that a children's book you bought? This book is called I Had a Black Dog, and it's about depression. I think I've actually seen most of the pages in this book because I follow Sane on Twitter and they're always showing like the illustrations from this. I'm having a bit of a hard time at the moment, so I do suffer from anxiety and depression. Lovely. And I'm just having a bit of a hard time at the moment, and I've had this in my Amazon basket for I think about over 2 years. I have a lot of books that are like by people who've had depression, like self-help books on depression in my basket, just for those moments that I really need them, even though I have a whole bunch of them on my shelf. And I just wanted to pick this up and just like flick through it, just so I could identify some of my feelings and just, I don't know, sometimes when you're feeling quite low, it's a bit helpful to have something that sort of knows how to explain that feeling for you when you might not know how to. So yeah, but I'll show you now. The book basically looks like this, where there's a picture and then there's some words on it, so it's not a very descriptive book, but yeah, it's one that I've been wanting to read for ages and one that I think is a must-have for the depression bookshelf. So those are the 2 books that I picked up from Amazon. I'm trying to be very wary of my spending because I'm trying to get into the habit of saving. There are loads of things, big things that I want, and I'm trying to save, and as much as I love buying books, need to rein it in a bit. So the next book I'm going to talk about is one on my Kindle, and it was actually, I guess, gifted to me. One of the, I guess, people working on the book reached out to me and asked if I wanted a free copy of the book, and I said yes, because I like to read, and it's called Love and Hate in Nazi Germany. The book is a love story. The main character saves the life of a Jewish girl that he's actually ordered to murder. He decides he's not going to do that. There is a trailer for the book which sort of explains in a bit more detail what that's about, but I think it's just about the acts of redemption and love. Like, by saving her, is he somehow saving himself, even though he hasn't actively participated in wanting to kill Jewish people, even though he's a soldier stationed in Germany, I think, and he is not actively, I guess passively, part of people killing the Jews, but that's not actually what he wants to do. But I guess in this situation it's kill or be killed. So it's just about like whether or not she can save him, and whether or not, I guess, they can live happily ever after and all that jazz. So I'm excited to see how this book goes. I will give it a read and hopefully do a review on it. I keep saying I'll do reviews on everything and then I never do, so I don't want to promise anything, but we'll see. I'm excited to read it, excited to get stuck into it, and I'm very, very grateful that it was sent on to me. The next 2 books I'm going to talk about are books that I borrowed from the library. The library. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for me to join a library. I have been a member of the library before. That's when I was much younger, and then as I grew older and I was able to buy books, I was like, what is the library? Bye. But now, as I'm trying not to be bankrupt, your girl needs to find the library again. Also because like I don't have that much space on my bookshelf anymore for me to be buying loads of books. So I recently just joined my local library and ended up picking up 2 books from there. The first book is another book from Ali Smith. I can't remember who it was that said they liked her books, but because I saw this in the shelf, on the shelf, yes, as you do in libraries, I decided to pick it up. And it's called The First Person and Other Stories. I think it's just a nice collection of short stories, and I like reading short stories, and sometimes it can be nice to read shorter things and rather than one whole long novel, one whole long story. I'm thinking back to another story that I recently reviewed that was really long, and I think I am actually going to like her writing, so I just decided to pick it up. I think I'm really also going to enjoy this because the back of it just says it's about like life and love and storytelling, and I'm all about those things, even though sometimes I don't seem full of life. Even though right now I don't feel full of life. I know switching on the camera and being in front of the camera, you're probably like, Sandra, you seem fine. I assure you it's a very different story, but I think I'm just going to like flicking through this. It's probably just going to reflect real life, and I just kind of like poetry that's about modern day things, but I could be completely wrong, it could be about something completely different. The final book that I have is this book by Coelho. I can never say his last name, so I don't say it. And this book is called The Valkyries. I haven't read a book by him in so very long, in like 4 or 5 years. I have about 3 books of his on my bookshelf, and I am one of those people that really likes The Alchemist, or at least I did about 4 years ago. I might have to reread it again to see how I feel about it, but I mean, I've already read it twice and really loved it, but who knows. Anyway, this book is about when him and his wife are like travelling through some desert, and they meet like a group of women, and they're called like the Valkyries. I think these women are like riding on motorcycles or something. It sounds cool. Makes me just want to go live somewhere completely remote and do something that is like not expected of me, and it's like not what mainstream society expects of me. I don't know what this book is going to be like. I think, as per usual with a lot of his books, it's going to be full of that spiritual wisdom. Not sure how much of that I can actually handle at this point in time. Sometimes I feel like I'm really in the mood and I'm capturing all that spiritualism and I'm just like embodying it and really loving it. Other times I'm like, that's a pile of crap. So we'll see how that goes. I'm actually currently reading some other books that are just based around like anxiety and I guess well-being and all that sort of stuff to sort of get myself out of this funk. But I might start reading this book because his books are always meant to be a bit more inspirational. And that is the last book in my book haul. So a relatively small book haul, but I like it. I like the varied selection of things that I have to read, and I mean, what does it matter about the size of the actual book haul? It just matters that I'm going to read the book. So depending on how I feel about the books, I will make reviews about them. I just realised I haven't made a review about a book I don't like. I don't know if my channel will go that way, because so far if I don't like a book I just don't talk about it. And I haven't really found the book that I absolutely hated this year. As per usual, if you would like to talk about any of these books, please do leave me a comment below and I will be happy to talk about them with you. In the meantime, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.